Hey, welcome everybody. Tony with Rvitia RV Rentals, RV Simplified. Out here with my assistant, Gianna. I want to show you guys there what to expect in your first RV rental and what your guests expect. And because I want to show you how a poor little Mexican kid who's never been RVing, never really been camping, how I had my first successful rental season, going from not knowing anything, never driving an RV, never doing anything, to making over, I think I made like 55,000 off the big one. And then the mini, we did probably, I don't know, probably 30,000, somewhere around there on the little one in our first year. So there is a ton of money to be made. I mean, I don't know a ton of money, but I mean, there's quite a bit per each vehicle. So, and since it's such a new thing, I just want to post any videos if we can help you out. And because there's a lot of learning experiences we learned along the way, especially what the guests expect and what to expect like on your first rental. Because one thing I didn't really realize, I bought this, the big one brand new, and I was like, sweet, I'm gonna buy a brand new one so it doesn't have any problems and I don't have to mess around with it for a couple years till I learn what's going on. What happened? The very first rental we've had problems and calls since the very first guy picked it up. Within 30 minutes of leaving, the generator didn't work, and it was a brand new one. It's Vegas and it's hot. And so what I found out is everybody expects you to be like the Marriott of RV rentals, or a major hotel chain where everything's organized and nothing wrong happens. So they really do expect that, and they will call you and call you and call you and call you, and you know, until it gets fixed. So I'll tell you what my solution was at the end, to be able to not have to answer the calls, because I love the RV rental business. I love being able to provide these families awesome vacations. These people go, you know, to Mount Zion and Bryce Canyon and all these wonderful places, and you meet these really cool people. However, people are very demanding, and like, I own a vacation condo rental business, and that's how I kind of got into this. Is you know, we do very well with it, renting out people's timeshares on Airbnb and HomeAway, but I don't really have to deal with the customers, because they, you know, when they check into a Marriott condo or a Wyndham condo, they take care of that. So I didn't realize how much attention people need, especially with these RVs. And like the little one's not so bad, but the big one, if you have a big one that's like these Class A's with the slide outs and all the buttons and the levers and I don't know. The one guy I learned how to do this from, he said he had his in the shop so much he bought it brand new, just like me, thinking the same thing. But what they don't tell you is they don't like inspect the back part of it, the back house of it. All they do when they sell it is like inspect the engine and stuff. So hopefully your RV dealer inspects the back house, but a lot of times there's a lot of stuff that doesn't work even if they're brand new. So especially if they're brand new, so a lot of times you got to work the kinks out of it and find that out. And I didn't find that out till I had a renter. And the guy, you know, he called me and the generator wasn't working, and then the stereo wasn't working, it was overheating. And I love the business, but I hate dealing with these renters, because the phone calls you get, not that they're not good people, but they call. I mean, I get calls at 12 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night, 6 in the morning, 5 in the morning, all day long. I mean, these people are willing to call if things aren't working exactly right. And I even, when I first started, I had somebody film the whole walkthrough procedure, just like they did when I bought it. They walked through everything. I recorded the whole thing, made a nice video, put chapters in it. He cut it down to like 45 minutes and whatever. And then I send it to the people ahead of time so they can watch it, and then they can also keep it on their phone and refer back to it on how to use it. And then I also made like a quick reference guide of all the main questions that we were getting. I put them all on one sheet so people could just at least look at that sheet to find out, you know, what was going on. So I find that very helpful. I don't know if people actually use it with the amount they call, but I'm sure some of them do a little bit, you know, but people, they don't seem to want to read the paperwork or even read the, you know, directions or any of that stuff. I mean, some of them do, but with the amount of calls, I mean, I think that's limited, the calls, having like a quick reference guide that has like the height of the vehicle, the weight of the vehicle, you know, the width, what else, like what the Wi-Fi password is, what the code is for the door, you know, how to turn the generator on and off, you know, put the seats forward when you put the slides in, because people all the time, bring the slides in while the seat's still out, and it causes damage to that. And I even did that myself the first time I did it. So, and then when they raise and lower the bed, you know, there's certain things you got to remind yourself. So there's little things like that I would put on, like a sheet. And then also I would do the video thing. It saves a ton of times when they pick up the RV, because then you don't have to spend 2 or 3 hours with them, or an hour and a half to 2 hours. It kind of cuts it down to like 20 to 40 minutes, just going over whatever questions they have. But, you know, because you got the leveling jacks, you got the water tank, you know, you got to show them how to work the water thing on the side. So there's a lot. You tell them, GB. And then, so your renters are going to expect you to be available at a moment's notice. So what I did is I also made a separate form, and I have them initial it that their first step is to refer back to the video. Their second step is to look on the quick reference guide. The third step is to text us the problem, and don't play that. And then the third step is to text us the exact situation and what they've done to try to resolve it. And then the fourth step is to call us. And then I've even put a limit. If they call us more than 5 times, I charge them $20 per call. And that seems to lately have been limiting the number of calls. Because if something does go wrong on it, you guarantee they're going to be, you know, blowing up your phone. And you know, which is, I guess they're right, you know, but you would be surprised at the number of phone calls you get. I had one guy, he was in Utah and he didn't read the instructions. He was from France. I don't know if there was a language barrier, but he ended up draining the batteries. And then so the batteries were out in Bryce Canyon or some way out there. And it was like 11 o'clock at night, and he calls the roadside assistance. And of course it takes the roadside assistance a while to get there. So between 11 o'clock at night till 4 or 5 in the morning, the guy called 17 times, called us when the roadside assistants had already told him, you know, they only have so many people in the area and it'd take a while to the business hours, and that they would be there and they would notify him when they got close. And he called us so many times. And even before that, he had called us like 6 times. Most of the things that seem to happen are they plug in too much stuff, because everybody thinks it's like a house. And you can have the air conditioner on and the fridge going and the TV's going and all your cell phones and laptops plugged in. Well, inevitably they pop the breaker or they blow the fuses out. So make sure you have an extra fuse kit somewhere in there. I have like a tool kit with the extension cord and all that. So because the fuses seem to be the biggest problems, and that's why I always show them where the fuse kit is and show them, you know, where the fuse panel is, so they can just easily replace them, because that seems to be the biggest thing. And then like knowing how to work that breaker, like I don't know about on yours, but on mine, the breaker, like it would trip, but you couldn't switch it. You couldn't switch it on. And then I finally figured out that if you turn the generator on, then it lets you switch the breaker on, and that solved a lot of problems too, because that was a huge headache for people. And then the slide outs, the air conditioning. So maybe you make like a quick reference sheet on how to replace the fuses and which ones to check, because I've had a few people where like the hot water heater wasn't working because they probably blew that, and they tried to check it, and they say they checked it and it still wasn't working, and then I tell them to check it again, and invariably they didn't check the right one. So make sure they check it again. Every single time an owner's had a problem or something, it was 99% of the time their fault, not the RV's fault or not our fault. So a lot of things that will happen will not necessarily be your fault, but try to think ahead of anything they may need. So fuses, the little fuse thing remover, that was kind of important, because those are kind of a pain to pull out. So you got the little, they're like tweezer things put in there. Extension cord, you know, what are those things called for the plugins? The one that goes like 50 amps to 30 amps, like a converter, like an extension cord, like a converter. Make sure those are in there. Make sure they know how to work the generator. And then make sure you know where the, well, maybe you were smart and you know how to work these things. I never even been in one before, so I didn't know how to, you know, check the breaker on the generator. The generator was a huge problem. So if you're in hot areas, I was having this mechanic come out all the time, this RV mechanic, and he was charging me all this money to like fix the generator and stuff. And finally I wanted to get another mechanic because this guy just couldn't seem to get it wrong. And I had like I had one renter who the generator wouldn't work going around the neighborhood on this test drive, and he didn't do the rental. So I lost like $1,500 or $1,800 on that. I had 3 renters had problems with the generator, and it was brand new. It hadn't even been used yet. And then I called this one company, this one mobile mechanic, and he did RV rentals as well. And he's like, wait, you have a generator problem? He's like, no, I'm not coming out to fix it. And I was like, what? He's like, oh yeah. He's like, if you live in a hot area, he's like, we even put in the paperwork now, if it's over 90 degrees, the generator will not work properly. And do not try not to use it, which is what powers the air conditioner in the back part. And I was like, no way, really? He's like, oh yeah. He's like, we've taken them apart, we've replaced all the parts, you know, we've done this and that. And he's like, if it's over 90 degrees, those generators just do not work well, the Onan generators. So I found that very interesting. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what this guy told me. And he was a mechanic, and he could have made money by coming out to help me fix mine, and he didn't. And he just said, put something in your paperwork. And I know another lady who rents out RVs here in town in Las Vegas, and she said the same thing. She tells them if it's over 90 degrees, that the generator's probably not going to work. I mean, it does work, but you know, I just had people out in Burning Man, and it worked for them most of the time, except for like, I think like a little bit of the time they did have some problems with it. But so yeah, the generators do work funny, especially if you're in hot areas. So I have a special addendum that says all the generator do's and don'ts. So we went online and found out like all the things to watch out for with those RV generators, like waiting 3 minutes in between turning it on and turning it off. Because you know, people, they're impatient. So if it's not turning on right away, they keep trying to turn it on, turn it off, turn it on, turn it off, which is not good for the generator. And you can't like plug things in. You can't have like the air conditioner on and all that stuff when you first fire it up. You know, there's a lot of do's and don'ts that you have with the generator that made a huge difference. And ever since we put that paper in the paperwork and people have read through it and they follow the instructions, it has saved us a ton of calls. Okay. And then one other thing I did is Outdoorsy has this thing called Wheelbase. It's a program. So if you have multiple RVs, so what I did is I have a Wheelbase account, and so even if I rent it on RV Share only has roadside assistance, like if something gets broken, like a wheel or, you know, whatever, battery or something, but it doesn't really have any help if people, you know, have technical issues or whatever. So I came up with a couple things. I found this place called justanswer.com, and you can get like an unlimited monthly membership for like $100 a month, 150, and then you can get real live RV mechanics within 8 minutes that can answer any question. So I got a Just Answer account, and then the people can go on Just Answer and answer any questions for any RV mechanic. And I found that a great solution instead of having to take all these phone calls, especially since I have no idea what's going on anyways. So I'm not very helpful. My wife says I'm the worst Mexican ever. Can't even hang a towel bar, and definitely not building anything. So, so yeah, that was one of my answers for that. And then I also found a way, stick close to my next videos or put it in the comments if it helps. I found a way to get a CoachNet membership for my renters, even when they're on RV Share. But it was a little bit of a, there was a little bit of trickiness, but not trickiness, but there was a strategy I had to use to be able to get that done. But I've only done it once or twice, so I don't want to say anything about it if it doesn't work. But so far, I've done it on the first one, and it has been fantastic. It's nice because then they have 24/7. They have RV mechanics that can help them through any situation, plus the extra roadside assistance, and plus I charge extra for it. So while my price isn't as cheap as everybody else, they know they have 24/7 technical assistance. If not, and you're just a regular owner, you're going to be taking all the phone calls, and people don't care if it's Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, the day before, midnight, 12, and you know, they're going to want it resolved quickly, and it's going to be your biggest pain in the butt about renting your RVs. And that's why my company here in Las Vegas, Rvitia RV Rentals, that's why we take the hassle out of it for you. We're like property managers. We're like vacation property managers for your RVs. So what we do is we do everything you don't want to do. We meet the renters, we furnish it, we clean them, we do all the maintenance, and all you do is get a check on the 10th of the month. So if that's something you're interested in, you want to do the RV rental, but you're not sure yet, it is a lot of work, but they are, you can make a lot of money off of it. And so what we do is we just split the profits with you, so you still make really good money. The little one who we consign with it, I mean, they probably make on average $1,500 a month. So their expenses on it are about $700 a month. So they're getting an RV paid for plus $800 to $1,000 a month in extra income, which adds to their retirement income. So they're super happy. And, you know, and then they could buy 2 or 3 of them. And now you got a nice, you know, 50 grand a year retirement income. And all you're doing is putting down a down payment to buy one of them. So it is a great deal. And if you need us to help you rent out yours and you're in the Las Vegas area, and hopefully eventually we'll be expanding into different places, you know, let us know. Our link will be the website, or message us here, or follow us on social media. And please subscribe to the channel and let me know what you're having trouble with your RV rentals, or if you have any questions below in the comments, and I'll do my best to help you out with my big 1 year of experience. But yeah, I've been doing vacation rentals for the last 6 years, so a lot of it kind of crossover information. But I'll let you know what I know, and it may not be much, but maybe better than nothing. All right, you guys, God bless. Take care.